Sounds loud on the end. 8, wait,
9.
10. I messed that up. Yizzo!
Hello.
I'm
Hello, everyone.
I'm hearing a lot of feedback on your end. I hope it's not coming through on the come through. Just
You
sounds
still
like
here?
shh. Yeah.
It's my computer because it's hot and my house is not up.
It's
I
your
can hear it
it's
on my computer as well.
it's the fan in
Hmm.
your computer. Damn, girl. You all right over there? You know, today was the third hottest day
In the
ever
world.
recorded in the history of the world. The last 3 days have been that.
Yeah, it's
So,
only going to get worse. So, yay.
how are you?
There's no turning back. I think we're like, oh man, that's crazy. It's been hot. The weather's been weird. There's something unbalanced about everything. It doesn't feel like there's an equilibrium or it's like not a natural summer. I don't know what it could be. Crazy anomaly.
How are you, Sheila?
I'm
What's
good.
crack a
I'm
lackin'?
I'm a little tired. I just saw you maybe like 6 hours ago. I was
For like 2 seconds.
in New York doing things. Shout out to Renee. I had to do a photo shoot.
Renee who?
Renee blew it. I feel like I guess folks don't know Renee, but she needs to be a first name type bitch because she is. But I did a photo shoot. She's just again. I was just meditating on the way that she's just offering a platform and possibilities and opportunities to Black women-owned businesses. Thank you, Renee. I know, I know it may feel like a hustle and bustle, but you're really just like opening doors in a lot of ways. So I just want to shout out to her. I'll make an announcement later when she gives me a thumbs up as to what the hell I'm talking about. But Renee out here open doors, just tapping people on the shoulder, telling them, hurry up, come along, everybody. But it was nice to be in New York. It is a hustling and bustling city. I got lost multiple times, but I'm kind of learning the city as well. I'm trying to figure it out a little bit, so I'm proud of myself in some
You
ways.
got lost?
Yeah, I'm trying to meet her. I don't know. I need to stop using the map that I'm using.
You
It
gotta use
is
Waze.
Waze talks too much. Waze is
No,
like
you can turn Waze. You can turn the lady
okay.
off.
Waze is like the neighborhood.
Watch.
Yeah, it's like niggas fighting 20 feet up in the sun. They selling
Holes.
Lucy's on the left, 200 feet. They selling Lucy's.
It's like Citizens app if it's
It
folk.
is. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is giving me anxiety. There's a lot going on. I'm
Now
just
you
trying
can
to go
turn it off.
else,
My
girl.
Waze doesn't talk at all.
Okay, well maybe I need to do that because
You just
whatever.
using regular old Apple Maps? The ghetto.
I don't know what I'm using. I
That's what
just
you use it.
anything
I
that
know
has
it
an
is.
arrow, I'm like okay. But it got me lost. But I was also just like walking, and whenever you say it, whenever I think about potentially moving to New York, I think the only reason I would move to New York is if I were to open like a business there, Sable there. But this time around, I was like, you could really like map this out. Like you could really just paper and pencil. How much money would you think it would cost? Do your little research to find out how much, retail spaces are going for there. What are the lease terms? And like, why couldn't you?
I
Why
can put
couldn't
you
I?
in contact with the homegirl. Shout out to Brooklyn Wellness. She was someone that I met at the Blue Note. She was serving when I was there for my birthday. She was serving me and my friend. And she's like a yogi. I want to bring her on to the podcast, but she quit the Blue Note and opened up a whole wellness yoga studio in
I
Brooklyn.
would like to talk. I need to talk. I mean,
She did it.
Renee will probably be again a wonderful resource to talk to. But like, yeah, how are people doing it? It just feels
Shout out to Paris.
so um hard. Just your apartment would be much smaller. The rent is high. I don't know it. But for the first time, I was kind of like, okay, okay, I could possibly do this. These are just regular folks opening up businesses. Like,
I think for now, just keep vending. Keep vending. Like, I think you should get with Angie. Shout out to Ariane's Jewelry.
Yeah.
and
Figure out what the
like
market's like.
vend, do the
Yeah.
things that she does because she's always vending every weekend and see what the response is. And
Yeah.
then I think that will inform your next
You're
move.
my
I
business
think there's a
consultant now.
huge market for sable in Brooklyn. Are you fucking kidding me? And in
Yeah.
New York. These black women in Brooklyn, are you kidding?
Well, again, I'm making my rounds. Shout out to me. I'm doing my market research. I have some events in Brooklyn, so I'm testing the waters. And in the past, we've always done well, but yeah. But it's always just been like, I could never move to Brooklyn. That's impossible. But I was walking like, bitch, get it together. Yes,
You
you
were
could.
also like, I think I want to move. I like that Clinton Hill. I was like, girl,
I want to.
you can be in the hood with
Manhattan.
me.
I think I want to go to Manhattan, Times Square. Like, girl, get
I
the
was
fuck
like,
out of here.
I don't think so. I think your first apartment might be in Canarsie. No, I'm playing.
Child.
You don't get that joke, but you
Mm-mm.
will. Oh, you will. Shout out to Canarsie. It's real
How
out
are
there.
you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm great.
Oh, I love to hear it.
Uh-huh. I saw you for 2.5 seconds.
I got a glimpse into your daily, what Antoinette does every day. I got a little tiny glimpse.
You saw my night routine too. I felt badly about going to yoga last night, but then you were like you were going to dinner with a friend, and I was like, oh, well, shit. I'm going to go to yoga then.
I was trying to stay out your way. I don't want you to feel obligated by any means.
You weren't in my way. I was just trying to get you the keys, but yeah, I saw you for 0.2 seconds. I was working. I couldn't even hug you because I was on the phone with my boss when you were leaving. Sad. You also left a necklace here. It has a dollar sign on it with a green
Damn, I need
pennant.
that.
I don't know what that. It looks like a necklace or it could be an anklet. I'm not quite sure.
It's
but
a necklace.
okay, little ass neck. But I'm good. I actually hung out. I was out all weekend. I think I might have talked about this. Yes, I was flirting all weekend because we had that one episode that we did. And then I hung out with Jade of All Jades on the actual, on July 4th.
Oh, you were with Jade? I haven't seen
Yeah,
Jade forever.
I know.
I need to text her and say I want to see her.
She's always traveling. And we grilled, and Jade is just, that lady will, it be 5 people, and she's going to have enough food for 50. And she did what she does. But the craziest part about it was that all I wanted was a hot dog. She had salmon skewers. She had shrimp that I can't eat. She had steak. She had different types of chicken drumettes and wings and things. I mean, and I came there with a salad and a pack of ballpark hot dogs and did not eat nothing until that hot dog was ready. Because I just thought to myself, this is really all I want. I see all this delicious food and I want, unpopular opinion, the best thing to come off the grill is a fucking hot dog.
I agree 100%.
I can't believe you agree.
I mean, I would eat all the other food as well, but I love hot dogs. Anybody say hot dog, they're disgusting, but they are delicious.
I mean,
amazing.
You probably put mustard on your hot dog.
No, I don't. It's just straight ketchup.
I did ketchup and relish.
Relish. If I feel fancy. Not us agreeing on one thing in life, it's going to be a hot dog.
That's crazy. This is a sign. I feel like when we go out and we actually, because you outside now, when we're actually out, I feel like we have the same taste in like hot dogs.
I don't think so. Maybe. No. Oh no.
I don't know. Because the people that I think are cute, you're usually aligned. Like the last guy that I hung out with, that you were around, you were aligned. You were like, he's cute.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about. That's a shame my brain don't work.
And you were here and you were.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like we might be going after the same guy, and I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna push you in the direction whenever we're out.
I don't think that's what. It would only be for flirting and
yes, of
flirting.
course.
Yeah.
That you
Because
just
you
need
push
to be.
me, and then I end up in a relationship, and then you the one.
I'm gonna be
Shanti.
pissed. And I'm still out in these streets banging on your door. Let me in. I swear I said to myself too, I was like, Shanti is absolutely going to be in a relationship before you. Absolutely.
No,
Even
I'm
now,
telling
I'm
myself.
sick.
I'm telling myself that no, I'm trying
Girl,
to do
if
like
Mr.
a
Right comes
year.
along, just go with
Whatever.
it.
I'm so confused about what that means. So, all right, but
Mr.
that's a
Right
whole
for right
conversation.
now. Okay, well,
That's
moving
a
right
whole
along.
other conversation,
In other
child.
news, I'm feeling really activated in my like femininity, and I think I
It's
do.
the Disney princess
Well, it's more than Disney
cosplay.
princess. It's like I was cooking the other day, and
Oh,
I was in here. I was making
what
girl. I
you
haven't
make,
made
girl?
my Ghanaian pepper sauce, that green pepper sauce.
Okay,
I have not made that in so long,
domestic
and I was like,
princess,
"What? About to
get
go
it.
get this joint, whip this up real quick." And I was in the kitchen, and I swear to God, I was in my like, that wrap that I wear, where I just wrap
Mm-hmm.
the material around me, and I was like, "What would it feel like to do this in a bra and panties?" And so I went and changed. I went and changed, and then I was like, doesn't feel that good. And then I went and shaved my legs and like
Oh, good for
washed and then put
you.
like oil all over my
I
body
love that.
and was moisturized. I mopped the floor so that my clean feet
Yes,
wouldn't touch the
girl.
dirty floor. And I was just in there whipping it up, and I made sure to leave the blinds open or the curtains. And I was just in there like doo 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 doo. And
I
it
love
felt
that for
so
you.
good. And then
Mm.
I realized something. And believe me, I'm not getting paid for this anymore. I think it has something to do with that vibrator.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, ever since I did that campaign with Balesa, shout out to them. This is not an
Balesa.
ad.
That sound like somebody. That sound like this. My daughter Balesa. That
Child,
sound like.
go to the website. I don't know if you name it, but ever since, so I will be honest and say that even with a vibrator and a regular vibrator, like a wand kind of deal, I would still sometimes struggle with orgasm. Not anymore. Not with this thing, this hook
Okay,
thing, whatever
Balesa.
that is, baby. And I like look forward to it. And I think because maybe this is too much, but I think because you have to like insert part of it, like there's a whole other kind of thing
You're
where
like,
you
I
have
got
to.
a man. I got a
No,
nigga.
no, but you have to like make sure you're revved up. You have to make sure like, you don't want any dryness there if you have to like actually insert something. You do follow what I'm saying. This isn't
Yes.
horrible decisions. Follow me. I'm trying to be a little non-crass. Do you understand?
Yes,
Right.
Antoinette.
You're
You have
giving
to
me a
be
look on if y'all on the
lubricated.
Patreon, you would understand
I
why I'm
wasn't.
asking.
No,
You were
you're
like,
projecting onto me. That's just how I look. That's my
oh.
actual face. I get it.
But anyway, so now I'm like, oh, this is nice. I like
I
this.
love
And
this for
so
you.
I've been making sure I'm walking around the house and it smells good and getting up and lighting my incense and just kind of like being in my body. I also think it has something to do with yoga. I hate that I left that out, but I do. I think that I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Being in your body in
Stretching.
all the ways.
I'm in
Sensuality.
my
Yeah.
body and it's a
Yes.
delight. It's a
Mm-hmm.
treat. It's rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious.
Sounds
And I'm like,
nourishing.
yeah, ooh, nourishing. You
Add
don't
that
really.
to our words of our limited vocabulary list.
We did good just then. We did real good.
We did good just then, right there.
Anyway, so those are my updates. I'm actually this week. Not feeling insane. I'm feeling okay. So shout out to me and you.
Yeah.
Also, you didn't say anything about my bed, and I was really disappointed. Did you not like it?
I enjoyed your bed very much. But
Thank
you know,
you.
as an older person, you still don't fall asleep. Like if you spend the night at somebody else's house, you still are up a little bit. I ended up falling asleep around like 7. Like I hit deep sleep around like 7 a.m. and I slept for like a good hour and a half. Like hard
You were
sleeping.
up the whole night?
I
Wait,
wasn't
what?
up, but I wasn't completely asleep. You know, that doesn't happen to you, Antoinette?
You were like conscious.
Yeah, it wasn't a deep sleep.
You were aware.
A part of me was aware that I was not
Was
asleep.
it blue? Was it blue?
No, Blue. Listen, I've slept with Blue where she has tiptoed on my head.
She got on you yesterday. Do
She
you
did?
remember?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I think you were a little more asleep than you think. And I yelled at her, and I was like, "Blue, get off of her!" And she crawled on your chest, and you just took your hand and mushed her to the ground. And I was like, "Bitch, I almost woke your ass up. Like, don't play with me. That's my child." But I was like, "All right, I'm gonna let her cook." But okay, and Blue didn't come back. She stuck out here.
I wasn't fucking playing.
Don't play. We gonna have to talk about that. But okay.
You need to train your cat not to crawl on people's heads.
You know what? No, I don't. This is her
like
house.
she ain't never
You're
been
a guest.
Smushed properly before. She said, "What in the dismissal was that?"
Anyway, I think those are our updates. A good 15 minutes. Very good by us.
Literally.
Please rate, subscribe, and share Around the Way Curls. I have to say that people have really been reviewing. It makes me so happy. We are at 994 reviews on Apple. I would love for us.
That sounded like an NPR drive. We just need 64 reviews to make it to that 1,000 mark, guys.
I would love to get to 1,000. We can do it, and this really does mean something. We've been having conversations with folks interested in the podcast, and these reviews and ratings have been referenced. So please, folks, we see the numbers. We see how many people actually listen and download us and engage with us on a weekly basis. So there's more of you out there. Many. Please review. Please just take 5 minutes out of your day if you can. Thank you so much. Please. I beg.
More begging. Please consider to join our Patreon. You can see our podcast live. You can see our faces and some exclusive content or whatever. It's on patreon.com. Shout out to new patrons that have joined the gang. Brianna, Tiffany, Kaya. There ain't no vowel in there. But why? Sometimes why?
Why?
The white woman in me took over.
She just said kya. Why did you say that?
Suburban teacher in a black school came over me.
First of all, also apologies if your name is Kya. I don't think it is. I think it's Kia.
Kya, that hits. That's a strong ass name. And Saudia. My bad.
Shout out to
Brianna.
y'all.
It could be Brianna. You never know.
Could be Brianna.
Tricky.
Tricky icky. All right. We're doing so well on timing. Let's take a break. I'm really feeling good about this. Let's take a break. And please, Shanti, I don't know if you've sang yet.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
That was so good. Boop. All right, and we're back. You just, since you sang that, I actually, for hot shit, would like to shout out Jasmine.
Because it reminded you of Jasmine. I know.
Because that clean run reminded me of that Grammy-winning lady.
Shanti a little bit.
I said, "Ooh, Jasmine." Shanti was in the studio when she did that arrangement. Jasmine sang "Lift Every Voice and Sing" for the Macy's Day Parade, and she sang it
for the Macy's Day Parade. Why would you just? Is that what that was for? I thought it was July 4th. What did you just say? Is that right? Because if it was Macy's Day Parade,
wait,
it
wasn't. It wasn't.
She said for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in November of 2020.
Who sponsors the July 4th parade?
I don't know, girl. It wasn't no parade. She was standing stationary, nigga.
No, there is a parade. Don't play with me. Hold on.
You might be right, but that sounds crazy coming out your mouth.
That did sound crazy.
She said for the Thanksgiving Macy's Parade of 1986.
No.
What?
Wait, I'm telling you. She said, "Thank you, Macy's Fireworks." I ain't crazy.
All right, I don't know Macy's Parade.
And it was on NBC. And thanks to Ray Chu from the Apollo did the arrangement, which is amazing because, as we all know, Jasmine appeared on the Apollo when she was a baby boy, baby girl. What? I'm having wine. I'm gonna
Wow.
stop.
Are you doing drugs again today?
Wine. Oh my God. I went into her account and liked her own post by accident, thinking it was mine. Hold on. All right. So shout out to her. It was beautiful. She sang it down. Every time she sings and this upper register comes out, I'm like, where did that come from? She did not have that when we were younger. And we used to make fun of her. Like, it's a deep ass voice. That girl, I'm just so proud. And I need her to have more opportunities like that so that the world, I want to see her do tributes. I need the world to hear how she can really sing it down. Like, I need that. Seriously. It didn't make any sense to me that they were honoring Fantasia and Jasmine is not a part of that. She probably turned the shit down
also
too.
be
Let me
like,
shut
no.
up. I
Yeah,
know, I just thought about it. She'd be like, I'm in the house.
We talk about?
Actually,
said,
I take it back.
Get somebody else to do it.
She was like, this one's in Philly, I'll go.
Get somebody else to do it.
That one, that performance was in Philly, so that makes sense. She don't want to leave that city. Shout out to Philadelphia. Moving right along. Have you heard of Flying a Boss?
Yes, girl. I've been posting them for weeks now. I'm obsessed with them.
I'm obsessed with them. Their videos make me tired because they running their little asses off. Have you seen their videos where they're just running in the street?
Yes, Antoinette. Yeah.
Why are you saying it? I just don't. I don't like to do hot shit. I don't like to do it because when I say something, you make fun of me.
I'm obsessed with them. They are a phenomenon. I've been posting them.
I
posted them on our Instagram before. Like, is anybody else
I don't always look at our Instagram. I don't always look at the stories. I'll be honest, but I should.
I'm obsessed with them. They said, "Hello, Christ. I'm about to sin again." Child.
That's what we have to say to ourselves every time we go out.
But I'm not feeling him.
This is what we have to say to ourselves every time we go out. Every time we enter the streets.
Sugar, spice, Kanekalon, and cinnamon. Me and my bestie go together like a synonym. I'm obsessed with them. I love them.
I apologize.
And her little alien ears. Oh my god.
They look like babies, right?
They are.
How old are they? They are babies. Their name is
Bobby, Linnea, and Folion. Child.
I don't know if you said that right.
I apologize. Because I love her too. But those are the babies' names.
Well, I love the two besties, one duo. I don't know why I love that tagline so much. I wish we would have thought of it. Damn. But shout out to them. Lastly, have you heard of Threads and
No. That's in my other updates. No. Why y'all doing this?
Because we don't support Elon Musk, Shanti. Elon Musk. How you say that man's name? I need to stop drinking this wine.
You call him Elon Musk?
I don't know. Elon Musk. Is that his name? Wait.
Yes.
Musk.
Musk. Aren't those like sea creatures? What are the sea creatures called? Musk.
What is the cologne? Egyptian musk. Yeah, that's
Egyptian white. Internet. Do you remember Egyptian white?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Yo, if you're from the hood, if you're from Philly in particular, Egyptian white had us in a headlock. You hear me?
That just smell delicious.
Oh my
Shout out to the Muslim brothers and sisters. Threads is Mark Zuckerberg and team have
not much better.
launched tricky, but they've launched Threads, and everybody's sick of Elon and his shit. Elon is making people pay for Twitter in order to have a certain amount of characters and verification and an edit button, and now he has
edit button.
Yeah, he's also limited the amount of tweets that a non-paid Twitter account can read in a day. The amount of tweets is 600. I have never read 600 tweets in a day, but apparently most people do, and they reach their limit. And so he's trying to force people to pay. Mark Zuckerberg was like, watch me work, and launched Threads. Everyone is over on Threads. They're loving it. Threads is
It's
seamless when it
yeah.
comes to the incorporation of your Instagram. There's some work that needs to be done on the UX, on the user
What you say?
experience.
Okay.
User experience, thank you. But right now, I'm hoping Twitter dies. Then you also
Oh,
have Spill. Spill was launched by, they keep saying it's black owned, but it's brown people. That being, I don't know how, I'm confused. But they were former employees of Twitter who were let go, laid off rather, uh, when Elon came aboard. And so they've launched Spill. It's like you're spilling the tea, and it's cute. It's very cute. The
you're on
user
both of them.
experience is not that great. I've joined both of them. Haven't logged into Spill today because I'm old. Can only handle one thing at a time. Threads was today. Threads though, it's very easy. You just say, yeah, I want to follow all the people that I follow on Instagrams and I want them to follow me. So as soon as you join, it's like all of a sudden it's just Instagram but in a Twitter
Gotti.
version.
Wow. Mark said, don't count the kid out ever.
Ever.
Your life, I will always
Own it.
own it and be a part of it in your business.
So lots of people are on there having a grand old time. There's lots of gifts. There's lots of, lots of black folks are carrying on as they do in their most brilliant ways. And I don't know. I'm not for the Twitters. I'm very curious to see how it impacts Twitter. Very curious. So something to watch out for. But everyone around the way Curls is also on Threads. Have not logged on to that account, but I will. Because right now it's very difficult to toggle back and forth between accounts. Yeah, so that's it. Shout out to Threads and Spill. All right. The moment that I've been waiting for, that I don't know if anyone else has. I think, no, they have, because they've been tweeting back when that was a thing.
What do you call a threading? What do you call
A
it?
thread? I don't know. I threaded. Oh,
Uh,
like a tweet.
yeah.
What is the
What
thing?
is the verb for that?
No, it would be a noun, a tweet. Or are you
Tweeting is
tweeting?
a verb.
That's
I
a verb.
tweeted.
I tweeted. So I threaded and I posted a thread.
Hated it. Doesn't roll
Doesn't
off the
slap
tongue.
as hard. All right. Politics as usual. All right. What I'm going to tell myself right now is that Antoinette, you worked really hard on this outline. Please don't get nervous and skip around. Please follow
Don't
the
rush.
outline. Don't rush. Read what you wrote. And Shanti, if you have a question, please interject, okay? Or if you have a comment.
Got
All
it.
right?
Love
All
the
right.
rules.
Now, the first thing I want to go over is Civics 101 because we're talking about the Supreme Court right now, and I've seen a lot of tweets about how Biden is not doing anything. This is his fault. The Supreme Court is ruling the way that they're ruling, and I just need us to remember the three branches of government and how they operate. So first up, we have the legislative branch, which is Congress. Congress is compromised. What? Congress is composed of both the
Compromised
House
as well.
is of both the House and the Senate. All right? Comprised is the word, not compromised. The Senate is comprised of senators that represent their state, their whole state. The House is comprised of members who represent the districts within that said state. Now, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Then you have the executive branch, which is the president, the vice president, the White House staff, cabinet members.
So, excuse me, the legislative branch, what is their
They make
engagement
laws.
with laws? Okay.
They
make laws. So
they
they listen to the people. They say, yo, we want
They
to
never
stop.
listen to the people.
They
but
never listen to the people, but
they
they
make laws.
they lie instead of they do, and then they present. They make these laws. It's between them.
The bills.
It's
Yes.
in the Senate is amongst them where they pass these laws or
Senate and the House.
not. Okay.
Okay. Now the executive branch, they carry out the laws. They execute the laws. Okay. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not make laws. They interpret and evaluate laws, usually where there is controversy. So they rule. They use the laws that are in place and they make a ruling on said law.
Okay.
On said scenario and
All
how
right.
the law impacts that. Okay? All right.
Sorry. Question now. The Supreme Court, this is a lifetime position. Once you're in, you're in there forever.
Time
Until you
appointment.
die, you back down.
Until you die or until you dip out.
Executive is every 4 years. House, Senate, House, do you know the times?
I think that's 6 years or 3 and 6. Can you Google that for me?
Interesting. So the executive branch has been, okay.
Most importantly, the judicial branch is the branch that we, the people, do not directly vote for. Okay?
That's appointed by the president.
The president nominates a justice.
Okay.
And then Congress,
bring it back,
determines if that justice gets in or not.
Checks and balances.
Exactly.
Wow.
Supposedly.
Game of Thrones.
If you have, usually what's happened is the court has turned into a very bipartisan court. It's supposed to be partisan, where partisan meaning they don't rule based off of Republican or Democrat. They just rule based off the law. Obviously, we're human beings. It's not happening. So Republican, conservative Congress members will, of course, vote a conservative judge in. Because in their mind, they're like, well, I represent my state. I was voted in, or my district. These Republicans voted me in. This is what they want. And it's not always that black and white, because someone can be registered Republican but still believe in, let's say, pro-choice. Does that make sense? Okay. So we had a couple Supreme Court rulings come in. And the first one, believe it or not, that I'm going to talk about is not the affirmative action ruling. It is the 303 Creative versus Ellenus. All right. This is the ruling where it basically gutted some of the LGBTQIA rights. All right. So let's break down what happened, because I think this one is the most concerning to me. I'll tell you why. Colorado amateur web designer Lori Smith, she has religious, right-leaning, conservative Christian convictions, okay? She was successful in challenging Colorado's Anti-Discrimination Act that barred businesses from discriminating, and it prohibits the denial of goods, services, or facilities based on disability, race, creed, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, marital status, national origin, or ancestry. Okay, so basically it protects you from discrimination on all of those things, which are protected. They're considered protected classes. So when you hear that term thrown around, well, I'm a part of a protected class. Of course you are. You're a human being. Your race, your gender, that's a protected class. Now, does that make sense? Okay. So this act was previously in the spotlight due to the case that was only about 5 miles away of the baker, Jack Phillips, who didn't want to make a custom wedding cake for a same-sex couple.
And this was years ago that this...
5 years.
Okay.
Or 6 years, either 6 years or 5 years
yeah,
ago.
This one I first heard about
it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But the Supreme Court in that case, they didn't really come up with a ruling, like a general ruling. They kind of like pushed it back down and upheld the act that's in place. Okay. So the most interesting and terrifying part about this case is that the woman, Lori Smith, she argued that she was creating a website, and as a result, in that creation, that would infringe on her First Amendment right to free speech. Okay? So she argued that she is an artist and her work is not templated, but rather it is of creative expression. So for her, creating a website promoting same-sex marriage, a same-sex wedding, is equivalent to her endorsing and promoting the union of an LGBTQIA couple and its messaging.
Mhm.
So that that directly conflicts with her religious beliefs,
Mm.
but it's most importantly violates her freedom of speech by the existing law because she could not refuse the couple. So she would be compelled to create the website and quote unquote endorse the union. So
Uh,
she didn't
uh,
say,
qu- qu-
I don't agree with this for religious reasons. I don't want to do this and I shouldn't have to. She's saying, you are compelling me to align with messaging that I am not aligned with, and you are infringing on my freedom of speech.
I don't know if you know these details. Was she like a freelancer, or she was working under a company that
Get
required?
ready for this. I do. So,
They're good.
so no, she has not. She hasn't started her business yet, and I'm gonna get to that. She preemptively sued
Wow.
because she was.
Wow.
Just get ready. We'll get to that. So this was the ruling. Okay, this is the ruling coming from the justices. The First Amendment's protections belong to all, not just to speakers whose motives the government finds worthy. In this case, Colorado seeks to force an individual to speak in ways that align with its views but defy her conscience about a matter of major significance. In other words, Lori Smith cannot and should not be compelled by the government to say things that she's not aligned with, so she can refuse to service this couple. So, an important factor, here we are, Smith's lawsuit was completely preemptive and wholly speculative. She had not been hired to make a website for a same sex couple, therefore, had never refused such work. In fact, she never made a single fucking wedding website in her life. The suit was filed before she ever officially opened her business, but she and her lawyers claimed that she had reason to be afraid of the punishment due to the existing law. So there was no real life dispute here. In addition, one of the documents that both sides of the case repeatedly referenced was an inquiry that Lori Smith received from an engaged same-sex couple asking her to build a website for their wedding. But in days leading up to the court's bombshell decision, reports emerged that the inquiry was completely falsified, and the man named in the complaint told several news outlets that not only had he never sent Smith the wedding request, but also that he is straight and has been married to a woman for the last 15 years. There's more legality happening here where if the lawyers knew that, they might be subject to be disbarred. Now, she was represented, this is important, by the Alliance Defending Freedom, which is a big Christian firm, and it's the same firm that represented the cake baker all those years ago. And she actually knows that cake baker. And the firm, it's important to note that the firm obviously had an agenda here. They lost the last case, and they saw the shift in the court and seized opportunity. This was a tester, everybody. Like, now they know that the court will seemingly rule in favor of conservative Christian beliefs. We need to understand that more legislation is absolutely coming. And this is the first time in the Supreme Court's history that they've ruled against protecting a protected class, citing free speech. This is a case that has very heavy overtones of the classic battle between religion and LGBTQIA rights. But because we supposedly have separation between church and state, instead, the lawyers and the conservatives circumvented that losing argument of this goes against my religious beliefs and manipulated the interpretation of the First Amendment, which is the freedom of speech, to roll back the rights.
But you think it's manipulation? You don't think
I
that those are?
absolutely do.
I mean,
I absolutely
you don't
do.
really.
I do. I think that it's a complete manipulation of freedom of speech.
Oh, I don't.
Okay, so we're going to get to that. Hold on. I want to pull up. Explain to me why not.
I don't think that if that's her beliefs, I don't think that is a. I don't think that's far from what that would be asked of her. I don't believe in same-sex marriages. You're asking me to you know, create to go against what I think. That wouldn't be my expression that is aligns with how I really feel. It feels like I have to do that. I don't see how it's disconnected from it. I mean, I don't agree, but I don't think that that's a far-fetched correlation of freedom of speech and your beliefs.
So
Like
then,
you're allowed, if you believe something, you should be allowed to express it, no? Or
so
not.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, you should be able to express it, but to refuse service when you are a business, this is the other caveat, is that this does not mean that all businesses can just blatantly refuse service. Like, something we need to understand is like Walmart can't legally now
No.
discriminate
Yeah.
against the LGBTQIA
Mm-hmm.
community.
Mm-hmm.
They're a regular business, but it gets tricky when you're a creative, because
Mm-hmm.
now you're selling your own artistic
Mm-hmm.
expression, which
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the justices were like, so you're a website designer, that's, so you're creative now. So like, you're putting a, like, what are you using to create these designs? Like, it's, nothing's templated. Like, it's a slippery slope. And I want to play, um, I want to play a clip from the Daily, um, that's gonna, a clash between religious faith.
50s
Oh Jesus!
sepia tone.
Hold on, Monty.
Crisp.
Can you mark this down? It's not connected to the Bluetooth. Lord, this Bluetooth be playing me. I be thinking I have it all together.
Justice Brown Jackson is what you want to do?
Right before that. Okay. Let me come back into this. So I'm going to play a clip from the Daily, a clash between religious faith and gay rights.
Setting in which they say black children shouldn't participate because that's not their vision of what the 1950s in America was all about. Would that be acceptable? That's a kind of speech, I guess, setting up a Christmas scene in a shopping mall. And are you allowed to discriminate that way?
So she seems to be suggesting that a ruling in favor of Smith could actually go way beyond a web designer's religious objections, that it could be a slippery slope.
Yeah, that's right.
But even if it were, this court has protected vile, awful, reprehensible, violent speech in the past, and it is never compulsory.
No, I'm just asking you, why is the objection?
An important point to recognize is that, let's recall, we're not talking about religious belief alone. We're talking about any belief. And that belief can be quite ugly. It can be, an anti-Muslim belief. It can be the idea that women shouldn't participate in the workforce. It could protect all kinds of discrimination, so long as we're talking about expressive speech delivered on a custom basis.
Got it.
Meanwhile, some of the conservative justices
Wait, I messed up that clip. So sorry.
sweep.
Can I ask you a hypothetical that just sort of helps me to flesh that out? Because
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, for instance, asked an interesting hypothetical question.
Can you give me your thoughts on a photography business in a shopping mall during this holiday season that offers a product called Scenes with Santa? And this business wants to express its own view of nostalgia about.
Let's assume a shopping mall wants to have a kind of 1950s sepia-toned Christmas setting in which they say black children shouldn't participate because that's not their vision of what the 1950s in America was all about. Would that be acceptable? That's a kind of speech, I guess, setting up a Christmas scene in a shopping mall. And are you allowed to discriminate that way?
So she seems to be suggesting that a ruling in favor of Smith could actually go way beyond a web designer's religious objections, that it could be a slippery slope.
Yeah, that's right.
But even if
Okay. So that's the exact point, is that this is why the LGBTQIA community is a part of a protected class. That's the problem here.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, while you might not agree, but now because you're a creative, a woman could come to you and say, hi, I run the Sable Collective. They could say, I actually don't support black businesses. I don't think that that's necessary, and I'm not in alignment with things that feels divisive to me, and I'm not going to help you. I'm not
Yeah.
going to create this for you.
I see now how they are, I don't know if manipulating is the word, but they're circumventing
Yes.
what they're really trying to achieve, and how deeply it's because of their religious beliefs versus this real
And they can't win based off their religious beliefs because there's supposed separation of church and state.
Yeah.
But they're not. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment.
How could burn it all down?
So
Burn it all down.
it's very, very scary. Scary shit.
Is it
Go
scary?
ahead.
Yeah.
Because again, this is a tester. They're testing. They're trying to see, okay, what are these justices going to go for? And so now we already know that they're eyeing other laws. They're eyeing, the right for LGBTQIA folks to even marry one another. They're eyeing that. And if you think for a second that not more lawsuits are coming from these red states and then going to go up to the Supreme Court, and these justices are going to be in place, these justices are 40, 50 years old, some of them. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And so the agenda of the DeSantises, of the Greg Abbotts, of these folks, they can now run wild with it. And there's nothing that Biden can do outside of expanding the court, which a lot of people want him to do, but that is a slippery slope, because then you expand the court because you don't like the way the court is operating. You get a Republican president and they don't like the way the court's operating, then they expand the court. It's interesting how, and I listen to Higher Learning a lot, Van Lathan is like, abolish the fucking court, get it out of here. I'm not going that far. And I'm more in the lines of like Rachel Lindsay, who's like, and she is a lawyer, and I like her thinking a lot, but I think that what she's saying is like, we have to have some sort of term limit. We have to have some sort of judicial like committee that oversees this committee, like an ethics committee, because you have all kinds of shit that Clarence Thomas is doing, and we're going to get to his monkey ass in a second, but all kinds of things that are happening within the court that are wildly unethical, and that, Republican conservative dollars are fueling. Clarence Thomas's home that he grew up in was purchased by a huge conservative donor whose agenda he's pushing. And he didn't even disclose that. It's just wild. So this is very scary to me because the implications of the type of discrimination that can come from it, and the way it's so rich in terms of the potential for things to sprout from it, it's terrifying.
And how long it can continue to last and be upheld because of these the justices. Wow, that's
and that's why I'm so sorry, really quickly, because that's a really important point that you just made. That's why elections matter so much.
Or that's why there's a possibility for people to say this shit doesn't make any sense. Why are you there for a lifetime?
Yes.
Why?
But
that makes no sense.
But we have to then we have to then demand this kind of stuff with congressmen, with congresswomen. We have to then be writing these letters. We have to then be voting for people who want oversight over the justices, who are saying this shit needs to change. We can blow it up. I don't know how we do it, but until we figure that out, we've got to be strategic, is all I'm saying. And I need folks to understand, like, the onus is not on Joe Biden. He didn't create these justices. Like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg would not retire when Barack asked her to. That was a huge mistake. She passed away during the Trump era. She was replaced by Amy Coney Barrett, he's a complete antithesis of her. Like, Trump was put into office. He was able to get multiple justices on the court. Like, that's just how it fucking went, sadly. But anything else on this one?
Nope.
Moving right along to affirmative action, I promise politics as usual will be over soon, and we'll get to
I
the
think
juicy.
this is very important
Okay.
stuff. I think because this idea that the president is the man with power, I think the masses are very uneducated, myself in a lot of ways as well. And I don't think that the way that the propaganda is created around the importance of your president, I don't think that is not a strategic, messaging as well.
Yeah, I mean, the president basically can wage. He can wage. No, he's important, but there are checks and balances. He can wage war. He's got the nuclear codes. He's going overseas and but he is not a king. But these Supreme Court, and I loved Adrienne Marie Brown saying, "I'm going to reclaim the word, the meaning, the definition of supreme," because the Supreme Court is acting like kings and queens at this point.
Yeah, there are no checks. There actually aren't any checks
There
and
are
balances.
no checks and balances for them.
There actually aren't.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, affirmative action. Let's talk about what affirmative action is. Affirmative action, it refers to a policy aimed at increasing workplace and educational opportunities for people who are underrepresented in various areas of society. It focuses on demographics with historically low representation in leadership and professional roles. With that said, affirmative action is not only about race, okay? Something that's really been frustrating me in these conversations is the lack of clarity around what the fuck diversity is. It's not just about race. It's gender, it's class, it's being able-bodied. Like, it's all of the things. Who benefited the most from affirmative action? White women. Okay? You're shooting yourselves in your own foot, goddammit. White women have benefited more than black and brown people from affirmative action. Okay? So there is an intentional, in my opinion, there's an intentional erasure of white women from this conversation. And that's a huge problem. And so, okay.
The same thing they did with welfare.
Oh, yeah.
Made it about being the single black woman being the major recipient of it when it was white people.
White women and white people, yes. But white women specifically.
Because the deeper thing is, anyway, go ahead.
No, please.
The deeper thing is white supremacy. It's racism. This is the deepest thing. This is what all of this stems from.
And classism is completely linked to that.
Absolutely.
That's how you...
Like, and until the conversation is that, like, it's like a civil war, I'm saying, like, in terms of real conversation and not this coded, not this flowery, not these ways in which, similarly when you say urban, but you really mean black people, like, say it, like, there is also something that is interesting that may happen from all of this, and how I feel even if we had an all Democratic Supreme, even if it was reversed and we had more Democrats in the Supreme majority,
which we haven't had in 20 some years, but go ahead.
Even if that were the case, if we're not having serious, honest, blatant questions around white supremacy and how that intersects with everything in America, it's still going to be more of the same in a lot of ways. These coded tiptoeing around these conversations, not just making it very obvious, and as painful and as scary as this is, it almost feels like the North and the South back in the day. Like, oh, we're seeing exactly where people stand in their politics, which is going to make things maybe a lot more confrontational, but at least it's a little bit more honest. Maybe it's a little bit more like...
You can deal with the enemy you see.
Right. Like, then we can really, like, figure this shit out. Or it can come to a head. Like, bust this pimple. I don't know what I don't know what the results of that would be. I'm not saying that that's, it would just be more honest at the very least.
I think something that I've got a little bit of hope from was I read, and I didn't read all of it because Lord, were they long. But I read the dissents, parts of the dissents from Justice Sotomayor and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. They are calling it out for what it is.
Okay.
And I don't think that we've had justices do that.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to those three. I forget the other. What's her name? Elena Kagan.
She white?
No.
It
I
needs
don't
to be
think
these
so.
white
Is she
people
white?
that are saying these things, because it just becomes, it just becomes this
Elena Kagan.
this victimhood. This when people of color say it falls on deaf ears.
And I also hate people of color.
It gets them even more riled up.
Well,
it needs to be white people.
It does, but at the very least, we have this shit on the books, and they're saying it. Justice Jackson specifically on affirmative action was beautiful in her dissent, but also she recused herself because she went to Harvard. And this case was against Harvard. So let's get into the case. First, before we can even do that, we have to understand who Edwin Blum is, or Bloom. I think it's Blum. Bloom. It might be Bloom. Do you know who he is? You ever heard of him? Okay.
Yeah, he's the conservative millionaire.
Exactly. So he's a conservative legal strategist, a millionaire with tons of money.
They call him a Republican activist.
Yeah, a conservative Republican
activist. I said, wow, fuck it up. This is wild.
Known for when you think that you're right, you are an
activist.
You have to recognize
which is
that.
a mirror to us in some ways too, because all of this makes no sense and it's all a lie. Sorry, go ahead.
We sound like we get our Van Jones on right now. Like, we got to see both sides. He's a conservative legal strategist known for victoriously challenging the Texas redistricting process in Shelby versus Holder as discriminating in favor of African American and Latinx voters. And he fucking won. And his activism against affirmative action based on race and ethnicity. So Edward is also known for challenging race-conscious admissions policies at other select universities, claiming that they do not comply with the strict legal standard set. To that end, he has founded Students of Fair Admissions, which is an organization that seeks to recruit students who have been rejected by selective universities and file lawsuits on their behalf. So,
is that
Harvard,
with the Asians?
It's not just, so in this case, yes. But the Students for Fair Admissions it's an organization, period. Now, what he found was a group of Asian students who felt that race-based affirmative action programs in college admissions violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, saying, listen, you're looking at these people's race and you are assuming that they would be better fit here. And you're assuming that, and you're basically giving them a leg up over me, and we have the same qualifications. Well, friends, you don't, because part of affirmative action the main part about affirmative action was about diversifying the space, okay? It was about saying a more diverse student body will benefit the students. It's important that we have people from all different backgrounds so that everybody has a more rich and full educational experience.
It was like qualification and diversity, not just qualification. Yes.
Exactly.
You're not qualified, but you're black, so you can get in.
Right.
That kind of thing.
I won't read the full ruling because we're running over. But basically, Justice Roberts shut this down and said, no longer will federally funded or public schools use race as a determining factor in admissions. All right? Now, what's very interesting is that 70%, I don't know where they get these polls from. I've never been polled, but 70% of Americans that were polled agreed with this, including black and brown folks. Interesting. Some other important considerations is that Justice Clarence the Coon Thomas, as I refer to him, was basically appointed to the Supreme Court to do just this. He was appointed nominated by George Bush Sr., And then, of course, he got the nomination with the, oddly enough, ironically, with the help of Joe Biden. That was when Joe Biden was a part of the good old boys and, you know, was overseeing the whole Anita Hill trial. All right. What you need to understand about Clarence Thomas is that, yes, Clarence, a lot of people have said this, he's someone who climbs the ladder and kicks it down once he gets to the top. He is someone who has benefited from affirmative action. If you have not listened to, what the fuck is that podcast I told you to listen to, Shanti?
Slate.
It's from
Slow Burn. Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas, season 8. Please listen to it. It gives you a much better understanding of who Clarence Thomas is and why. I feel like he had a lot of this had to do with his grandfather. A lot of it had to do
What's
with
his sign? Sorry.
what's his sign?
I
You're
think he's a
hilarious.
Cancer.
A lot of it had to do with him being ridiculed and made fun of by black folks. A lot of it had to do with by the time he got to white spaces.
I knew it.
he
Sorry.
excelled.
He's a
What is
Cancer.
He's a
wow.
Cancer.
I knew it. Oh my God. Go ahead. Rejection. He is a rejected, hurt man.
Yes, very much so. And so Clarence Thomas is the only black justice. And what's so sad is that, you know, God, anyway, I can't even get into him. We could do a whole fucking episode on him. But basically, he wrote quite a lengthy document and also spoke, which he never does because he has trauma around his voice and his vernacular. Even though he speaks the Queen's English now, he didn't always, based off
What
of
you
his
mean?
childhood.
Like, does he talk sound country or something?
There's actually a dialect from where where is he from? I can't
Geechee
remember.
from North Carolina, one of the Carolinas, the Geechee people.
There's a dialect, and he wasn't speaking a quote-unquote proper English when he got to his Catholichood. Clarence Thomas was going to be a fucking priest, and then the white boys that he was studying with laughed when Martin Luther King was killed, and he said, I'm not doing that anymore. His grandfather threw him out and disowned him. His grandfather was one of these people that you have to assimilate. You have to show that you're better. You have to be better. He was poor as shit. He lived in like a hut that didn't even have fucking running water or a toilet. His grandfather took him in. They left the sister and the mom to fend for themselves. He's looked down on his fucking sister because she was on welfare, but she didn't have the leg up that he had when he went to go live with his grandfather and had resources and opportunities. She stayed back to take care of the family.
The whole family.
It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. And you also have to recognize Clarence Thomas is also married to Jeannie Thomas, who is also tried to help overturn the fucking election. So tricky over there. But a lot of folks are talking about HBCUs. All right, we looking at HBCUs. Everybody going to a HBCU. I'm flagging. I feel personally that is going to be a problem. I think this ruling will heavily impact HBCUs. I think that HBCUs are wildly underfunded as is. I think that this ruling is basically shooting down the very need for HBCUs. They're basically saying race doesn't matter anymore. It's not a thing. So like the very need for HBCUs, for us to have safe space, because we're all the American people. So we shouldn't be funding schools based off of it being a historically black university, etc. They're already underfunded. If you have an influx of folks coming to HBCUs, I don't know how that's going to work. I feel like it's just going to trickle down, and the folks who aren't as qualified or don't have the best grades are then not going to get into that said HBCU. Like, it's all going to have an impact and trickle down. HBCUs are also going to be susceptible to lawsuits. Let a white kid want to go to an HBCU, which they do.
They do.
I know, but they can now say, oh, I don't think I got in because I'm white. This felt racist. This felt like discriminatory. It just opens them up to a whole bunch of bullshit. And
it might be lit. We might be going back to segregation. It might actually turn out to be.
I don't think so, because again, it's the funding aspect. It's the funding aspect, and also I have a friend who I spoke to, and he was like, "Do you really think that the black students who don't get into Harvard are they going to say, oh, I'm going to Howard?" No. They're going to say, oh, I want to go to U of Penn. I want to go to USC. I want to
Well,
like they're
yeah.
still so it's
I don't think that's always been the case. I don't
anyway.
know. I don't know. This is ripe for possibility in a lot of ways. Go very bad, very interesting nonetheless, child. Fuck.
It all comes
That's
back to funding and money, but some possible fucking solutions because I'm done. I'm getting angry. Biden is saying they said that the kids can talk about their race if it impacted them and their upbringing, and if they've overcome things and they want to talk about that in their essay, they can. They can talk. Biden is urging schools to look at class and have class preference, where it's no longer about race, but you need to look at where these high
yeah.
schools, where these, because the majority of students that go to, or excuse me, the majority of black children in America go to majority black high schools. It's just still kind of segregated
I
in
mean,
that way.
mhm.
So you need to, he's saying you need to factor those things in. You need to factor the zip codes they come from. That's how you're going to diversify.
I mean,
And,
a point that you
and I
made
don't
too. There's
disagree with that.
women as well. There's also women are at risk of
Yeah.
not being. There's the Asian. Apparently, the folks that were in alignment with Bloom, the Asian kids, were basically
But
saying
wait, it's
that.
not a women thing. I'm so sorry. This strikes down race specifically, not gender.
I thought affirmative. The majority of the recipients of affirmative action were women. So
But the
why?
ruling is that you can no longer use race as a
But
determining
gender is
factor.
still a factor in it.
Race was not included in the, gender was not included in the ruling.
Oh, that's a very
Race.
important
And,
specific
and a
point.
very important specific thing is that this does not apply to the army, to the military schools, which feels very predatorial because
Oh, burn
they
it
come
down.
and
Burn it down. I
he,
can't.
and he said,
This,
the justice said,
oh,
oh, it's because
Lord.
that's not, the military schools are not in front of us. That's not who's
We
suing
have
us
to
right
go.
now. Which, okay, fine, but nope, they can consider
Mother
race
Earth,
in their
keep warming
admissions.
up, child. Do what you need to do, girl, because this is just.
Anyway, that was a long politics as usual, but I think a necessary one.
Good work by you, Queen.
Thank you very much, even though I skipped stuff. All right, let's lighten it up. An hour and 7 minutes
I
in.
really have to use the bathroom. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm going to pee my pants. I apologize for that, y'all.
So
Please
sorry,
put that
Monty.
note down there.
107. We're making him work today. I'm sorry. Finnegan. But I'm not feeling him. All right. What did I skip on affirmative action? Maybe I can read it to the patrons. Oh, this is very important. Monty, bring us back in while Shanti's using the bathroom. I will say that there is now a group of lawyers for civil rights, which is a nonprofit group in Boston, suing Harvard, saying that the practice discriminates against students of color by giving an unfair boost to mostly white children and alumni. That practice being legacy admissions. So now legacy admissions is on the table.
On your skin, girl. It's not
Hey,
good for you. It really isn't. But you
Shanti,
do what you want to
I'm
do.
recording. I'm saying something. You just ruined it. Hold on. All right. While Shanti's in the back, Monty, I'm so sorry. Let's try this one more time. Okay, before we go, I do want to say that a lot of folks are talking about legacy admissions, which legacy admissions is just, oh, your uncle went here, your daddy went here, sure, come on in. And most likely, there's a building named after this motherfucker. There's now a group of lawyers for civil, there's now a group, Lawyers for Civil Rights, a nonprofit group in Boston that is suing Harvard, saying that the practice of legacy admissions discriminates against students of color by giving an unfair boost to the mostly white children and alumni. I think this is great. I'm going to file the case. I don't think it's going to go anywhere because legacy students, I mean, there's something to be said about like 70% of all students that go to these upper elite schools are either legacy or they're children of donors or they're children of staff. And the schools rely so heavily on those donations, whereas the schools don't rely heavily on race. They don't rely heavily on black and brown folks. They rely on those fucking dollars. So it's at least, I'm happy that they're suing. Let's see where it goes. But anyway, all right. let us get into pop culture. You take the lead on this one. I need to be quiet. Keke,
Do never silence yourself.
do you love
Y'all,
me?
what in the hell? Keke Palmer went to a Usher concert, dressed cute, had a see-through dress on with her butt, her ass cheeks completely exposed, but was covered with a long black kind of like, what do you call that, sheer dress.
I have
Went
one.
with her girlfriend, was enjoying herself. Usher called her up on stage, serenaded her, held her by the waist. She leaned in, she sang, it was filmed, the world all saw it. Her beige baby daddy went on the Twitter and said, it's the outfit though, you a mom. Was attacked by Twitter, doubled down and said, we live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case. What in the...
He's also trolling today. He's also trolling and saying like, oh, y'all thought I left? Nah, the block button is real type shit. I need to say something. Twitter dug up. This man is problematic as all fuck. Twitter dug up the things. Now, he done said in 2016, what would have happened if Alton Sterling listened and followed orders when officers yelled repeatedly to get on the ground? People tend to ignore the fact that you're supposed to obey the law regardless of circumstances. Alton Sterling didn't comply. Alton Sterling could have made the situation easier for everybody in capital letters if he would have followed orders and got his ass on the ground and not resisted. Like what? Keke, what you doing?
I mean, if you're a misogynist, your correlation with also being like a conservative and, you know, having those type of ideas, and it all makes sense to me. Duh.
He also
probably
liked a
believes
tweet
that-
where somebody's hating on Tracy Ellis Ross for that gorgeous
Yeah, of
picture
course.
she took.
He's a misogynist. She got herself pregnant by a man that doesn't really want to empower women or love women or understand what a co-creative relationship is. He's the head. He leads the way. My family, my representation. I have standards.
Well, I feel like women say my family, but in this case, it's more jarring because it's like you know how he actually feels, or at least we think we do. This shit is wild. Keke has unfollowed him. He has unfollowed her. It's tricky.
See,
I don't ever want to see a family break up, but baby,
they've been already having problems. He's been acting a mess, and he mad because she been outside.
She's working.
No, but she's also just been outside and feeling herself and showing herself and blowing up even more. She's the sweetheart of America at this point. She is working. She's making money. She's looking good. And I don't think this is probably the first time that he's had these kind of ideas. He and India Irie. You know what? India Irie, after the Essence Festival in which Megan the Stallion and our girl Janelle Monae were shaking ass and showing tits, she went on to say, what did she say?
Click it.
India Irie.
You know India always saying something. God bless her.
The issue is, she went on to say something about, like, you know, her first tweet was around, like, everybody wants a bit of our culture. Everybody wants a bit of, you know, who we are. And I'm not saying this from verbatim. But she then basically saying, like, we have to watch what we put out there because, you know, it will make us look bad, and we got to be careful. We have to do things. We have to be more tasteful.
The issue is what context. Humanity does everything, but does everything belong in a stage? No.
That's what
Is
she said.
everything for kids? No. Is everything for everybody? No. So when we as a culture make something like this mainstream, it shows a lack of discretion and discernment. To those in the comments who laugh at anyone who wants these things out, girl, she was typing like me, out of our culture, you certainly have that right. Just as many folks have the right to want our mainstream international export, our music, to show us in a respectful light. I'd like to go on the record saying this won't age well, and that's my issue. I love Janelle and Meg the way I love us all, and I don't like this moment. Don't bother debating me. LOL, I don't care, and I do this. For 25 years, I've done this. So read, ponder, or don't, with a peace sign. Girl, shut up. Shut
What
up.
are you saying? Like, what point is she saying? Is she talking about the overt sexuality and the way that it could be influencing our children? Or is she talking about because Black people move the dial on culture, we have to be careful of what this is making us look bad?
You know, I have to put this back on me. I get, you know me. I am, believe it or not, a little judgmental. I just can't even believe that. But I've really been trying to check it as of late, last year or two. And I have a lot of friends that have very different values and beliefs than me and present differently and everything else. Back in the day, I would have been like, oh, I ain't aligned with that. That ain't who I am. That's disgusting. And I had to realize a lot of it had to do with white gaze and me being so afraid about what white people would think about us. And I think there's something really powerful when you don't give a fuck. There's a part of me that's like, well, you got to give a fuck a little bit, but not necessarily about white gaze. And I think a lot of this has to do when you start talking about our culture and mainstream international eyes and all that shit. I feel like that's code. Mainstream is just code for white, the same way urban is code for Black. And so not everybody is going to get everything. And there's going to be a lot of things within the Black community that's misconstrued. You look at people at Carnival, people think, oh, that's disgusting, they're gyrating, they're this, they're that. If my mom looked at Carnival, she'd be like, what is this? You can't go to that. It's disgusting, right? Because she doesn't have any context for it. It's not culturally anything she could understand. And so there's this thing where you're like, oh, I don't want anybody to see me and judge me and this and that. And that is indeed embedded in us and indeed a part of white supremacy.
Say it again. She's just, again, girl, you're not ripping nothing up from the root by, again, trying to be respectful and trying to, like, white people or this undercurrent of white people thinking they're superior and Black people are inferior. There's nothing. Dress, wear, speak like, school you can go to, how much money you're going to make that is going to uproot that.
Let me say, really quickly, there is no white space that is ethically more superior than any Black space or brown space in this fucking world. I don't care if you're talking about the church. I don't care if you're talking about this fucking country. I don't care. White spaces are the most unethical spaces, and we are all living in that reality. Be mad if you want, but the way y'all operate is fucking crazy, okay? There's at least rules to some of our shit. Now, I will say there has to be, or maybe there doesn't. Where is the line? Is it a personal line? Because I'll be honest, when that My Booty Hole Brown, my Pussy Pink, My Booty Hole Brown song come on, I cringe and I'm like, listen, I don't want to hear it.
One margarita.
Baby, when I saw her doing that in front of that, when I saw her doing that in front of that Black pastor, I said, my God, what are we doing, BET? But also I had to have a conversation with myself. Why does she make you uncomfortable? Why is that making you uncomfortable? What if it's not for you, it's just not for you. But why are you cringing for everybody else? Like, we shouldn't do this. Why are you policing her? What is the fear? And I don't know if I'm wrong or if I'm right to feel that way. I know that I feel it and I need to be honest about that, but that just might be my personal boundary. Would
No,
I want her doing that at the White
I
House?
don't-
Probably not.
I don't disagree about context. I don't disagree that some things are for children and some things aren't for children. But again, the implied, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are you really saying? To me, it feels what you're saying, that it's like, we don't want white people to see us like this because it takes us back. It's not progressive. It makes us, it supports the stereotypes that we are over-sexualized and ignorant people.
But also, this is essence. Also, if you go to the continent, women are throwing their ass
But to go
in
back,
celebration. This is a part of our culture. It's a part. I hate
Of
to be
course.
that hotep, but it is.
but I think the culture is the way in which it happens is still different, or what it is.
Or do we
What it
assume that?
insinuates is different, or the structures of the culture are different.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
I don't think we have to be able to hold two things. I can hold more weight for her in this situation
Who's
than
her?
I can for Darius, for India Irie, or rather, I can see there is some truth in what she's saying, because I think there is a certain place and a certain time to see some things, or there definitely needs to be some conversation. Megan is, and Janelle Monae, and shout out to both of them, because I think this is a lot of their work as artists in a lot of ways, that they require conversation around them, and for us to see beyond and go deeper than them just shaking ass and showing their titties. Janelle is, talking about her pleasure, owning her body. She's representing queer
Loving women,
community.
yeah.
But all of this is conversation that needs to be had if Jolie is going to see this. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna hide this from Jolie.
Because not everybody can hold the two things at once. Not
It
everybody
takes-
has the equipment yet, and with
Right.
young people, you don't
Right.
have it yet, and that's exactly why some young people don't shoot guns for the most part in the north.
Right.
In the
You
south,
don't
they do.
show porn to children.
Right. Their
but-
brains aren't developed enough to understand how to hold those.
Well, then
things.
it's like, then why put this on this national stage then to be seen by all? How do you, and this is just a conversation that we hear all the time and there's no answer to it, but I don't think that because something is complex and requires conversation that it should be withheld. I think it should still be, it has a place to be shown in the mainstream, and it should be, because of its very nature, because it's complex, because it requires intersectional conversation, because it makes people uncomfortable, because it frees up other people. I think it's super important. This black and white, this buttoned up shit, you'll implode. It isn't progressive, actually.
How would you have wanted India to start the conversation then? Because obviously we don't.
I don't agree with India. Again, I think I'm trying to understand what are you actually saying, and what you said. Is this about the white gaze? Is this about?
I don't think she thinks it is.
Oh, I think it is.
I don't think she thinks it is.
Oh,
is what I'm saying. I don't even think that she.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's deeply. I think she doesn't realize how deeply supportive it is of patriarchy and white supremacy.
Yeah. It's ingrained in all of us. It's ingrained in me.
It is. And how, but I don't know that the pendulum of it is free fall either.
What you mean?
Like, again, it's like this black and white buttoned up. We don't see anything. This is very 1950s. And then the opposite of that alternative. The alternative is like a free for all, and everything goes for everybody all the time. I don't think that is any more progressive either. And I can see there is some places for some things. And if a child sees that and they don't necessarily aren't given the tools or the conversation or the guidance as to how to direct or manage that really powerful energy, if a young boy is seeing women in that way and he's not being taught other things, it is easy to fuck it up. It's easy to oversimplify something that is really complex. And I don't know if we can do that in a collective way without it being messy or, as we see now. I think we're seeing it be very messy and constantly like this pendulum of black and white and complete free for all. So
there's
I don't know. You got niggas talking about booty hole next to a pastor. It's crazy out there.
I don't like it. And even like a Zeus network and shit like that. Like that kind of stuff. I'm like, I hate this. Why?
Martin Luther King don't approve of this.
Yeah.
Dr. Umar.
I would love for people to call in. What's the damn number? I would love for people to call in and give us like their opinions and their ideas on this subject, because I really struggle with trying to figure out how to make sense of it. So call us at 215.
To make sense of what? Of India Irie or the?
No, just how to make sense of my own feelings when I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Oh, my face is hot. Oh, God. That Booty Hole Brown song is really upsetting me. I just hate it so much. I hate it so much. I don't even like my neck, my back. And I'm not even prude. But when this shit come on, I'm like, yo. And I think maybe it's just because I'm not a crass person. It's like, I'm with the shits, but I don't need to, that's between me. Like, I don't need to talk about it. Like, chill. And my booty, I hate the word booty hole as well. Shout out to Mandy. I hate it.
Booty hole.
I hate it. It's childish. I just am like, grow up, my booty hole. Like, what? We grown ass women talking about booty holes. Like, what?
I think it's the policing part where it's the censorship part.
So is it a free for all, or where's the boundary and who decides? That's always my question. I guess it's your own personal boundary, and what's not for you, it's not for you. Right.
It's for your
I want to hear from the people. 215-948-2780. 215-948-2780. But before we go, it wouldn't be Around the Way Curls without me somehow caping for men. I want to go back to Keke Palmer's baby daddy. I don't agree with nothing he said. I think that she needs to run. And it's not funny, but it's not funny because the child's involved and I want Keke to be okay and not sad. But the way that Twitter dug up Mary J and Keke being in that video, I think it's Keke, where Mary J singing to her and she's like, "Run away, love." The Runaway Love song.
Talking about, but
you don't know the song?
I know the song, I just don't know the reference.
Keke is in the video and Mary is telling her, "Run away, girl." So they bringing it up. Or I think
wow.
The little clip I saw, it looked like Keke. I think it's Keke. Anyway, the girl crying in her hands. I can't really see her face. What I will say that was interesting about this, and it makes good for a joke, right? You know, it's a lot of men like, yo, if Keke needs somebody to fall back, shut the fuck up, get my bills paid, I won't be on her internet tweeting no dumb shit like this. It's funny. Women are like, yo, Keke is a fucking millionaire. Shut the fuck up, dude. Who are you? Like, what do you do? This is tricky. Because I wouldn't be me if I didn't scroll reverse that bitch real quick and say, all right, if Keke would still be wrong if she was policing him, especially since he was posting her doing all kinds of shit, but as soon as she was out with Usher, it was a problem, whatever. I thought it was interesting that the dismissal of him was, from what I saw on Twitter, was less about what he said and it being rooted in patriarchy. Instead, it was about his value as a man based off of his status, based off of his, what we assume to be his finances, in comparison to this woman who is the apple of all of our eyes that we're rooting for, who is doing well and stays booked and busy. There is that dynamic of you should not have an opinion, or your opinion does not matter because you don't have the same value. And again, I do not agree with anything that man said at all. I just found it to be interesting that was where people went straight. Like,
I think
you're
it was
broke, shut the fuck up.
no. I think nobody would have said that. I think it was more like, oh, you want to play this patriarchy game? You want to say my wife, my family? Keep that same energy when those same fucked up, crazy, unrealistic role playing expectations are put on your end. So it was just more like, oh, you want to do this? Here's the mirror, nigga. You don't fit that role. Sit down.
I saw a meme today that said, not these men telling us what to wear, and they not the breadwinner. So
keep that same energy.
Yeah.
You ain't buying my clothes. You ain't giving me a credit card. I don't have an allowance.
So here's my question to you. If you did have an allowance, if he was buying your clothes and giving you a credit card, could he tell you what to wear and what to do?
If that's your agreement, many
not if that's your agreement. I'm talking about the generalization that we're all making right now. Not if that's your agreement. Could he tell you what to do? Should that be the...
That's not in my relationship. Like my
not you, the plural you. Should that be the generalization? Because we just said, you ain't paying my bills, you ain't this, you ain't that, you ain't fitting the picture of what
if a couple
patriarchy is
rooted in and an agreement with patriarchy and a religious hierarchy, yes. If they're both in agreement with it, yes.
Of course I agree. Of course, if they're both in agreement. I'm saying, you're flipping that. I'm not saying if they're both in agreement. I'm saying the assumption. Should it be, or not the assumption, should it be the expectation of like, if I'm coming into the relationship with $500 and he got 500 million, should the assumption be that he's running things and I need to listen and fall in line?
No.
Okay.
I just feel like what you're saying is no. All of it's ridiculous. But
all
that
of it's
is
ridiculous.
super
Agreed.
ridiculous.
So that's all I'm saying is that like the argument, you're right, and I understand putting it back in his face like, oh, you want to be about patriarchy? You ain't the breadwinner. Like, shut the fuck up. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out, like, we go quick to, you ain't got no money, you ain't paying my bills, you ain't this, you ain't that. But even if he was paying our bills, that still doesn't mean that he could tell you what to do and that the expectation is that you just fall in line. It's still wrong, is my point. It's still rooted in some shit that like... It's
still rooted in weird hierarchy and power dynamics of women being submissive and under men, even though they are constantly just ruling from a place of profound insecurity.
So that's my point, is the argument against it should not uphold the actual belief. The argument against it shouldn't be...
I think it's more powerful. I think it works. Like, if you ain't got no... You want to tell me what to do?
Right,
you on my dime?
So we can't be mad when we see these other millionaire dudes and like these dudes with a whole bunch of bread being like, bitch, fall in line. The fuck? You was just tweeting last week. XYZ. We can't be confused when men are confused when they have this kind of power and status and value. We can't. That's why I'm saying, like, I hate that argument.
Who's that? Anyway,
what you mean? Who is it?
Name an archetype of couple that's like, for example, they fall in line.
Diddy. The fuck? Diddy do whatever the fuck he
married to none of them women.
Diddy's doing.
He never married them.
Okay, have you ever been married? Did you still have expectations of your man and how he's gonna act in a relationship?
I think Diddy is not a good.
Married has nothing
Diddy
to do
is not
with
a good example.
All right, you can. I'm just talking about the trope,
one
the
of those
basketball
pastor
trope.
Balls. I feel like one of those pastor guys or somebody.
The basketball trope, the football players, the basketball wives, all these women who are, come on, know the scenario that I'm talking about.
I think it was really interesting. Tiana Taylor and her, what's his name, Iman? Mm-hmm. We're on the Charlemagne show. I forgot the name of the show, child. Help me, Jesus.
The Breakfast Club?
The Breakfast Club. And he was talking about how he was insinuating that if you're going to be with a certain status of a man that makes a lot of money, that you got to just eat it. Like, if you got to eat it up. And she was like, yup. Because he was saying, like, be for real, ladies. You don't want to be with no nigga that isn't wanted. You don't want to be with no nigga that walks into the room and nobody's like making googly eyes at him. And she was like, yup, true. I don't want no ugly nigga. And I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy out here.
Or maybe it's not. I don't know anymore. The more and more that I
The more you know.
The more and more that I know.
The more you know, the more you don't.
Literally, Mandy has ruined me. I told her, I was like, you have ruined the hopeful romantic in me.
The Disney princess
is dead. And now that you tell me all of the arrangements, all of the fucking underbelly of relationships that we uphold, and we're like, oh, we love this. And she's like, child, girl, yeah, you can love it, but
I mean, Beyonce done told you now. Lemonade should have been the.
I don't think Beyonce is letting Jay cheat right now, or do his thing. I really
don't.
You think
like, I'm bored of you too? I think we keep thinking that she's the one that's like, I want you, I want you.
Love that.
She probably like, just keep it 100 with me, please. Stop lying.
Grow up, child.
We love each other. You're the love of my life, and also,
listen.
I am a daughter of Oshun. I know many things. There's a multitude inside of me.
Listen, you can't unknow it. So what are we saying? We want Keke to stay or go? That ain't none of my business. Let me stay out of it.
I want him
to shut the fuck up.
To get it together. And everybody's mistaken his brother, the guy that looks like a handsome
he's fine.
Space Jam alien.
For a light skin? You know I ain't in the light skin.
He looked like a handsome Space Jam alien basketball player. He looked like a handsome one. But everybody's confusing him for his brother. Like, leave me alone. I just minding my business. I haven't had sex in a year.
Also, Usher got to stop dancing on these women in these relationships.
Usher said, damn, my name in everybody's mouth. Like, get off my top.
Also, I really want to go to the show, and it's so expensive. Can we go?
So this is the best promotion he could ever ask for. Shout out to Usher.
Usher tweeted, was like, am I trending yet? I was like... tricky. What a tricky little Libra man. You know, we share a birthday. I wanted to see him for my birthday, but them tickets.
I make it happen for Antoinette. Where the sugar daddies at on this show? Do you hear us? Or at least Antoinette slowly throwing you guys a fucking alley-oop? What's it called?
Alley-oop. I love you.
Get it together, y'all.
Or will you do an affirmation for a sugar daddy?
Girl. I will. I'll write about it. No, I can't do it.
Oh, you won't do it right now. Hold on. I'm on the website. I'm on Ticketmaster right now for my birthday. Oh my God, that's a sin. That's a sin. $3,835.
Wow, he says I'm a fucking icon.
Because it's all no, it's not him. It's resale. Verify resale. I don't want to see Usher in row 400, like in the balcony. Like, this is insane. Also, are we allowed to say that? Somebody told me that I say that a lot and it's ableist.
You can't say insane now?
I don't think so.
I tell you, I'm this close to becoming a conservative activist.
I don't think you can say it anymore.
Say insane now?
They took it. They took that one too.
They took it.
Just the people.
Catch. I'm sorry. I should try to get you.
They want us to be right. They took it. They said, Like, what I really like, okay, there's a floor, then there's the 200s, and then there's the 300s. And then the 400s, this is the top. The 300s are selling for $1,300 a ticket.
Girl, you better get a fucking job. You better get a sugar daddy.
I can't get one.
Start a GoFundMe.
There was a sugar daddy. Mandy tried to get me with a sugar daddy, and I was like, sir,
maybe you're actually scared of a sugar daddy.
Away from me. I couldn't even look at him. I was like, and then it just was all so ridiculous. It's like, shut up. So corny. He took my hand and was like, if you play your cards right, you'll be on an island next weekend. I was like, yo, I gotta go.
We're Puerto Rico? I'm trying to go to Puerto Rico.
Wait, general admission standing is $1,000. Come on, Shanti, let's go for my birthday. We fly out to Vegas. Come on. I could get us 2 economy flights, girl. You know what else? I saw Scotty. Shout out to Scotty B. That bitch, she gonna write on Twitter, and I'm a little bit drunk. She gonna write on Twitter, ooh, I haven't been in economy in a long time. It's tight back here. I said, you know what? That lady, what a life. Congrats. And also, shout out to her and Sylvia. Y'all better check
Yeah.
out the Scotty and Sylvia show on the
On
Issa
the
Rae
Issa Rae
network.
not Issa. Shout out to Issa Rae. He got a network. She said,
Issa's doing
Oprah,
her fucking
here I
thing.
come.
Issa's doing her thing.
Capricorns, don't sleep on a Capricorn woman.
All right, dead ass though. Would you go if I got us tickets? No, I can't afford this. But I want to see him. But do I feel like seeing him skate around? He was really good at the Roots though. We would be in the VIP
Wear your
section.
see-through
We would have
dress.
to stand up though.
Ask Jasmine. Jasmine,
I know.
where you at? She will never listen to this podcast. But not
Ever.
us having.
You saw that she became a patron though. She was like, "Oh, let me support," and she became a fucking patron.
Not us having
like,
a Grammy
go
Award
away.
winning friend who performed with Usher and us scrambling.
It's so rude and it hurts my feelings. You know what? I'm gonna text her and say, "Is there any way you could get me 2 tickets for my birthday and Usher's birthday?" I'm gonna text her now. All right, stay tuned for the next episode of Roundaway Curls to see what this bitch said. Most likely nothing.
But, okay, I'll look into
She
it.
gonna be like, "Girl, text Yuja."
Text Zuza.
All right, that's it. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. We're kikiing. We love you all. And I don't know how to end it. We still haven't figured that out.
Old and the new.
All right, peace to the gods, the old and the new. Ashe, namaste, baby.